MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. I'm going to start the podcast in a couple moments here, and we have so much to cover. I mean, you know, since I was on the air this morning and now, so much has happened. So I'm going to cover as much as I can on the podcast today and take your calls. But we have never had a president do so much in so little time. You know, President Trump has done, and this is not an exaggeration, President Trump has done more in less than a year in his second term than most presidents do in 2 terms. And that is not an exaggeration. It's amazing. Now, I'm going to be playing a lot of audio and video and showing a lot of images. So if you want to see and hear the audio and the video clips I play and all of that, you have to go to the mainstream, which is linked in the description of the video. And in the description of the video. All right, just test it. And if you want to call in, the number, I'm putting the number in the live chat. All right, the number is pinned in the live chat. Okay, so I need that. I'm just setting up here. All right, here we go. Welcome, everyone. Okay, I'm going to start the mainstream now. So like I said, if you want to see and hear all the audio and video I play, go to my main live stream, which is pinned in the description. It'll take you right there. I'm just about to start it. Hold on. I'm mic'd up. Something happened?
My back's good.
Oh, good.
I got everything.
Great. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. Okay, there's been so much breaking news today, it's insane. So I'm going to cover a lot of things. In particular, I'm going to get into a lot of detail about these ICE raids in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it really just blows my mind. You know, when you of how Charlotte, North Carolina is a city that has been overrun by illegals, and the ICE raids that are going on there are it's just crazy. So we're going to go through what's going on there, as well as the lunatic liberals who in Charlotte are, well, they're committing a lot of crimes, obstructing federal agents, and we're going to get through all of that. But I think a lot of people, because it's going so viral on X today, I think most people, not just a lot, I think most people are surprised at how overrun with illegal Charlotte, North Carolina is. And you just don't think about that. Now, I've been through Charlotte by car a few times, but been a long time ago. I've changed planes at the airport there many a times because it's a hub for some airlines, and they have a beautiful airport. You wouldn't think it was a place overrun by illegals, but maybe it's not overrun by illegals anymore because ICE is on the job doing their job. So we're going to get into that, and there's some other things that we're going to talk about and cover as well. Your calls are welcome if you're watching live on YouTube to the video form of the podcast. The number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll free no matter where you are watching. The number is 888-465-2631. Before we get to Charlotte, North Carolina, This dropped on Axios just a bit ago, and this is being reported in other sources as well, not just Axios, and Jack Posobiec is also reporting this. Trump has made some type of deal with Putin that he's presenting to Ukraine to end the war. Trump plan is asking Ukraine to cede additional territory for a security guarantee. This is in Axios, and what the plan is, I'm not going to read through the whole story, I've read it and I'll just tell you about it. What the plan is that Ukraine's going to have to give up a bunch of territory to Russia to end the war. I mean, there are thousands of people dying every week, according to the president. And it's not a war that Ukraine can win. It's too small of a country compared to Russia. Their population is too small compared to Russia. And they're just prolonging being conquered by Russia. This war could go on for decades, and I can't even believe they have people left to fight. If we really had journalists on the front lines and we saw who was fighting for Ukraine, it would probably freak a lot of people out, right? We've heard some stories. But anyway, what the plan is, it's not just that Donbass region that Russia would get. Russia's occupying quite a bit of territory in eastern Ukraine, and it goes into some of these other provinces or whatever they call them. And the way that this Trump peace plan would work, and President Trump must have spoken to Putin about this to go to Ukraine, because it's a 20 some odd point plan, 26, 28 point plan. Wherever, and this is the Trump proposal, wherever the Russian troops are occupying right now, wherever that line is of their occupation, that'll become Russia. And a lot of people may say, oh, they shouldn't do that. Well, that's easy for you to say, sitting somewhere not in the war zone, somewhere like I am in the United States. I'm in Florida. Hey, it's easy. It's easy for someone in Florida like me on a nice sunny day to say, oh, they should fight to the end. Well, what are you doing? What do you mean fight to the end? You're not fighting to get to the refrigerator, right? It's sad, but what are you going to do? What thousands of people are supposed to die on both sides, by the way, every week? For what? For a war that Ukraine can't win in the end. They're going to be worn down through this as it goes on, and Russia's just going to keep taking more and more territory unless we put boots on the ground, and we're not going to do it. So I'm not saying it's the ideal deal, but it's the deal. And if you want the war to end, you do it. And then what Trump will do, and he's talked about this before, is make some government contracts between the United States and Ukraine and get a bunch of U.S. civilian workers in that area in what will be eastern Ukraine after the war's over, so that Russia will not come and invade because they don't want to kill Americans, right? Americans working in, American companies with American workers with their families working in eastern Ukraine is kind of like a wall of defense from further Russian aggression. That's the way it is. And they got to they really, if Ukraine does not take this deal, they deserve to lose. Right? That's it. What at this point, what would they be fighting for, right? So no, it's the way it is. Putin's not he's not messing around, and the war is never going to end. And Putin, he's not going to end this unless he can somehow go to his people and credibly claim a victory. So that's going to be it. His victory will be to his people that the current occupied parts of Ukraine will go back to Russia. And, hey, listen, it's not going to be the end of the war forever. I mean, they'll end the war, and the Russians and the Ukrainians, there's always going to be conflict. And there may be another major war with them in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But how many people will not have died for nothing between the wars? And the way it looks, eventually, if Putin's around long enough, right, Ukraine will become part of Russia perhaps one day. That's just what you got to accept. And I'll tell you, it's not our war. Not only is it not our war, we should not have any role in it. But unfortunately, Biden screwed up, allowed this war to happen. Remember, Biden told Putin that he could come into Russia. It was just a matter of how much of it he would take, and he left that open-ended. So when President Trump says, this war wouldn't have happened if he were in office, that's true. Somebody in the chat said, would you give up the United States territory to Russia? Well, the United States, we could kick Russia's butt, right? We've got the most advanced military in the world, and we could win. Ukraine is not capable of winning. They have no choice. They screwed up. They screwed up. That's right. They screwed up when they made Zelensky the president. So you can't put a compare. Well, would the United States give up? Well, Ukraine is not the United States. Okay, so let's get back to the main story, and the main story is Charlotte, North Carolina, and I mean this just blew my mind today as I was seeing what was going on in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I started to see on social media earlier some of these ICE raids going on, and then as the day went on, more and more is being seen with all the citizen journalists with their iPhones and everything, and the number of illegals inside Charlotte, North Carolina, is beyond anything I think anyone could have imagined, really. I mean, who would have thought that out of the whole country, this deep into it, that this would be happening? Associated Press, here's an article from the Associated Press. Immigration enforcement surge begins in Charlotte, North Carolina. AP, federal officials confirmed a surge of immigration enforcement in North Carolina's largest city has begun. ICE agents were seen making arrests in multiple locations. Americans should be able to live without fear of violent criminal aliens hurting them, their families, or their neighbors, says the Assistant Homeland Security Secretary. We are surging Homeland Security law enforcement to Charlotte to ensure Americans are safe and public safety threats are removed. You know, the thing is, in the old days, the stagecoach robbers, the train robbers, the bank robber, whatever, they'd go to Mexico, right, to avoid the posses. Well, the opposite is true now. Right? All the criminals from Latin America have flooded our country. And what do? Like all other criminals, especially ones that are free, they reoffend. Local officials, including Mayor V. Lyles, criticized the ICE actions, saying they're causing unnecessary fear and uncertainty. Well, I'm sorry, they're here illegally. You know, the illegals in this country, on top of the crime and the death and the destruction that they cause, are such a drain on all of our systems, the healthcare system, the education system, the legal system, the jail system, the roadways, the traffic jams that they cause, right? They cause the rents to go up around the country, cause a housing shortage in big parts of the country with rents skyrocketing. You know, what is the positive that we're getting from the illegals? Can you tell me? Because it's all a bunch they take jobs. Stephen Miller was saying that the literacy rates that we see that are so low in American schools, you know, in all our education statistics that we see in U.S. schools, they're so low because the statistics are thrown off out of whack by the illegals that are in school that don't speak English. And they're bringing down all of our scores for everything. There is no positive anything that the illegals are bringing to the United States. We want people in Charlotte to know we stand with all residents who simply want to go about their lives, says the mayor's statement. It was also signed by a local county commissioner or two. It's bizarre to me, right? Karen Bass in Los Angeles, this idiot mayor and county commissioners in Charlotte, North Carolina, the illegals are their constituents, right? Like that lunatic delegate from the Virgin Islands who's going around saying that Jeffrey Epstein was her constituent. So of course she's sexting with him during congressional hearings. He's a constituent of hers. I guess she's sexed. Sexting goes on between her and all her constituents in the U.S. Virgin Islands. What is going on with the left? They have all lost their minds. But Charlotte's going to be the main focus of the podcast today. I'm going to go through a lot of audio, sound bites, and a few more articles that I'm going to go through. But you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Adam from Massachusetts. I just wanted to say, what's your wife?
Yeah, well, you can say that to your friends. One of the things about the deportations that has really shocked me, okay, because we knew when Trump was running that if he became president again, that they were going to happen, right? And what is really shocking to me, although in Charlotte, North Carolina, or in Los Angeles, wherever they have the raids and the deportations going on, you have some local lunatics, you're going to hear from some of them on the show today, that interfere and do things and harass. But there really hasn't been any organized nationwide mass protest against the deportations. Have you noticed that? Even from the media, they cover it, and they're not friendly to what's going on. But what I was imagining would happen is that they would have images of the trains to Auschwitz and all of these things, and make all of these bizarre comparisons this was like the Jews going to the concentration camps and all of that. And if you look at what's happened, there's been none of that. There's been absolutely none of that that's happened. And that tells me that while a lot of these liberals are kind of like going through the motions with it, they really support it. They just can't openly show their support. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Tom.
Mm-hmm. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Sue from Aventura. How you doing?
All right, Sue from Aventura. What's on your mind?
I just want to say something about those men calling up, talking about those things, calling up, talking about your daughter and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of men are you people? You're supposed to be a man who's supposed to be looking up to a woman.
Yeah.
Not talking about his daughter and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And you better stop it. These people better stop it, and they got to become men. Enough of this. Grow up, get a job, and be like Brian.
That's right.
Thanks, Brian. Love you.
Well, yeah, you know what it is, okay? We often talk about how the Nazis were liberals, and they were, right? National Socialism, they were National Socialist liberals, right? And if you go back, look at when the Nazis first took over, when they first were moving, and they would, they had the brown shirts going around stomping people in the street. That's the liberal way. Remember, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, it wasn't just the first political assassination of a non-elected official since Martin Luther King in 1978. It was the first time that it was watched by millions live or soon after it happened in 4K high definition. That was the most graphic political assassination anyone had ever seen. I wish I would not have seen it. And I'm sorry that I did see it. All right? But what happened? Right? What they're still saying it today. Well, Charlie said these things. They immediately were saying that Charlie Kirk got what he deserved and brought it upon himself. And the thing about this, the same people that say that Charlie Kirk deserved what he got on that assassination are the same people that are saying this Miss Piggy lie with Trump and this reporter is so far over the line. How can this be? How can he call her this? Even though we called her Peggy, not Piggy. I'm going to play that audio again on the podcast here and go through that. It's amazing to me because that's how liberals roll. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Brian? It's Jay from San Diego again. How you doing?
Hey, Jay, what's up?
I guess you just mentioned Charlie Kirk. I'd just say a little thing about that. But my main thing was going to be about the Epstein. But yeah, about Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I still don't understand why we had him on the front lines of MAGA with such low security detail. Like, that's the one thing I'm still...
Because he's not. He was not an elected official, and there had not been an assassination of a political figure who was not an elected official for 56 years, over half a century.
Gotcha.
That's why.
That makes sense. I feel like things will change from here on out, though, of course, right?
They're getting worse.
Oh, no, what I mean is they'll put better, like say if Tucker or say Louder with Crowder, they're going to have more security detail with these type of events.
Well,
right?
the reality is that they're all doing things differently. There haven't been too many open air things. They've done some turning point things inside, and all of us are taking precautions, right? You have to,
right.
Because if you've noticed, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the left have been more emboldened. Listen to the liberals that call me.
Yeah. I'm sorry for that.
No, don't be. Let them show their true colors.
Idiots.
No,
they're just idiots for me.
They're average Democrats, average liberals.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't mind, my main thing. So with the Epstein files, I just wanted a bit your opinion. So two areas. One with Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, like his response to them not filtering or whatever, not redacting stuff from the Senate, not doing that.
Yep.
And then also the likelihood of Trump signing them as they are. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. When you say what do I think, well, I.
Or what's your take on it? If you don't have a take, that's fine.
No, this is like okay. Like I give you an example. A few months ago, the JFK files came out, and there was nothing in them, but there were a lot of names in there, and about things and people that were questioned and everything else, and no one paid attention to it. Why do you think that is? There were a bunch of names we never heard in the Kennedy files. Nothing came of it, but why do you think people didn't care or pay attention to it, these names, men and women in the Kennedy files?
Well, time is an issue with that one, but probably they just weren't fitting their agenda.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
If the Kennedy files, the JFK files, if they were released in the 70s and those people were still alive, even though they had nothing to do with the assassination, but they were in reports because they were questioned or something, their lives would have been turned upside down because the entire global press would have been following them around. It could have destroyed their lives. So what Mike Johnson was saying is there's a similar thing with these Epstein files. I get based on the documents he's seen, there are people that have no connection to anything, but somehow they were questioned for some reason. And it could do a lot of damage to their lives. So I see what he was saying. But
yeah, that's a really great point. Yeah. I really like your point. I'm impressed, Brian.
You're impressed? Why you're impressed? Wow. I have a good answer. You shouldn't be so shocked.
No, that answer really. I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it that way. You really impressed me with that one.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're an impressive person all around. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what? Things are so hot here. Trump, I'm guessing he'll probably sign it. Pam Bondi said they're going to release everything within 30 days. So I guess they'll have a team of hundreds or thousands of people going through it for the next month. But they'll release everything that what this law does is it requires all the documents the government has to be released. So, but they're going to go through it, and there's going to be redactions, and of course, the never Trumpers and the liberals are going to say all those redactions say Donald Trump underneath them. It's just a circle of infinity.
Yeah, it's going to be a vicious cycle because we're going to go back to just having dumps all the time, and then it's just going to distract us. And my opinion about this whole thing is Jeffrey Epstein has cost our country irreparable damage with all this. In the end, the amount of money, time, effort that's spent on all this.
And this is what we're going to.
Just because of one man, what he did.
This is what Jeffrey Epstein was. Okay,
it's not helping us as a country. Go ahead.
Jeffrey Epstein was not some Israeli spy or anything. Okay, this is what he was. He was a pervert pedo, and he was an extortion artist. And what he did, and I cannot remember who from the Trump team said, it wasn't a cabinet official, but it was a top Trump person who said this a few weeks ago on an interview, and I can't remember which one said it. If anybody remembers, let me know. What he would do, he was also
master manipulator.
No, he had an extortion racket, and he also liked to hang around celebrities. A lot of people like to hang around celebrities, and what rich people do is they pay to hang around celebrities, and that's what he did. And I have been around some celebrities in my time, and if you pay a few $1,000s, you can go hang out with them, right? And they'll hang out with you, and they'll take, and they'll do whatever. That's how it is. That's how celebrities make money. So he would do that a lot. But what he would do is, and this is how he made his money with his hedge fund and his stock market picks and all. He would befriend some guy who had money. He would hook him up with a married man, of course, who's a millionaire or a billionaire. He'd hook him up with some girl, maybe she was underage, and then he would use that as blackmail material to get the guy to invest in his fund. And that's how he made his money. And that's what he was mostly doing. It wasn't some vast international intelligence stuff. There's been so much romanticism put around this creep. He's a low-life scum bucket.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate the call. Take care. Yeah. Before I break, I was just going to share this because Pam Bondi had a press conference today, and she was asked about this. Okay. Okay, so all these people on the left and ever-Trumpers that claim to care about pedos and sex trafficking and stuff. President Trump, one of the top focuses, maybe the top focus of his entire second term is ending sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, and slave labor trafficking with the illegals. They are doing massive bust nationwide, rescuing children every single day that are being trafficked. There is no individual that has lived on this earth that has liberated as many sex victims from sexual bondage and servitude than Donald Trump has done in this second term of his. No one has come even close. Millions of people, girls and boys, women, and even adult men, have been freed from sex trafficking and labor trafficking, because they got slave labor too that does physical labor as well, that of all ages, including children. So, and you look at what's come out with Epstein, politically, he was in bed with the Democrats, while President Trump is the one who's out there ending all of these different various forms of disgusting trafficking going on. He should win the Nobel Prize just for that alone. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. I got to talk about George Colony, our real estate agent. Florida real estate is hotter today than it has ever been for a lot of reasons. You know, I'm in Florida. This is the greatest state in the union. It's sunny outside. I mean, I could go outside and wear shorts right now if I wanted to. I got short sleeves on. It's winter. It's just great. It's beautiful in Florida. And there's a mass movement to Florida from the north, not just because it's wintertime and getting cold up there, but a lot of New Yorkers are coming south because of Mom Donnie. And that means that Florida real estate is hot. Now, if you're moving from the north, if you're moving from New York and you're looking for a place to buy or rent, you want to call George Colony. He can help set you up down here. But if you're looking to take advantage of what might be the largest investment you have or ever have made in your life, and that's your home, call George Colony too. Find out the value of your home. And by the way, homes are also selling really hot here among Florida buyers as well. If you're looking to buy or sell, give him a call. And one thing that's back are condos. Condos were not doing too well recently in Florida because of that incident in Miami Beach a couple years back. But the housing market is just booming so much in Florida, even condos are hot right now. This number rings directly to George Colony's cell phone, so you can call or text him, 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. That's 954-801-7320. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. I got a lot more to cover and your calls. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. Back right after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Brian Craig Show. And if you want to catch the show in video form, the video podcast version that's live when I'm taking calls and you'd like to call in, That's on YouTube. So go to YouTube or YouTube Music and search for The Brian Craig Show. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. So Will Kane had Kristi Noem on, and she was talking about this, I guess, secret government that the Democrats, the liberals, the Never-Trumpers have been running, that she's shutting down. Remember those NGOs or those non-government organizations? Okay, so so this is interesting because I hope one day we get a whole insight on how this worked, because the tens of millions of illegals they brought here, they walked, some of them, from the southern parts of South America all the way to Texas or California or Arizona or something, right? Or New Mexico. And if you ever have studied history, in particular when war's involved, there's one of the most difficult problems for armies in wartime when they're advancing is supply chain. That supply chain, to bring those millions of illegals in those massive caravans nonstop into this country for 4 years during the Autopen administration of Joe Biden, was done with these NGOs, with military precision, with water, food, bathroom facilities, even cleaning up. There wasn't a line of trash all the way here. There were military people that were behind this, and she's right on the money. I'm so glad they're shutting this down. And some people may say, well, the Democrats, if they ever get back in control, will start everything over again. Good luck. They'd have to start from complete scratch, and their entire operation is being dismantled, and more of it's being dismantled every day. Kristi Noem is she's doing a great job, isn't she? It's really amazing. Everyone in the Trump administration is doing their job above and beyond, except Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. Okay, other than those three, everyone else in the administration is beyond expectations or promises. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yep, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is James. I'm calling from California.
Okay, what's on your mind?
This is the Brian Craig Show, correct?
That's me.
Hey, I was just scrolling past and I seen your Trump 2028 hat, and I just wanted to ask you, why do Trump supporters wear the Trump 2028 hat?
Because it pisses you off.
I'm not a liberal.
Well, I didn't say that you were.
Who does it piss off?
Well, you're obviously bothered by it.
Well, I just wanted to know your reasoning behind it.
President Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. Arguably the greatest president this country has ever seen. And I'd like to see him run in 2028, 2032, 2036, 2040, 2044, 2048, 2052, as long as he's alive. But mainly I wear it because it ticks you and liberals off.
Well, why are you lumping me in with liberals? I'm not a liberal.
You're the one who called me griping about my hat. I mean, why would you call and comment on a man's hat? That's kind of like a strange thing to do. It's obviously bothers you.
Well, Brian, I don't know. I don't know a lot about you. I just wanted to, we got to start somewhere.
What's your thoughts on the Trump 2028 hat?
I mean, I pretty much agree with you. It's kind of just a silly gimmick.
No, it's not a gimmick. I mean it. I want him to run in 2028. I'm not joking. I was joking when I said I wear it to piss you off. That was sarcasm. But like most Gen Zs, you don't have sarcasm in your bones. You don't understand it. That was sarcasm.
Well, I mean, do you seriously think we should forego the 22nd Amendment to re-elect
I think the
Trump
law
for a
should be
third term?
changed. I think the law should be changed to allow him to run again. Or anyone else. Obama and Clinton could run as a team against him in 2028. Change the law.
You know what? I actually agree with you. Maybe not necessarily what you're saying, but I do think we need to seriously look at our term limits, because, a lot of our politicians don't have actual effective lengths of time to implement
term limits.
policy changes.
I don't support term limits. Term limits. The founding fathers did not give us term limits in our Constitution.
I mean, you're right, but here's the problem with this sentiment, right? I feel like we're going to get to a point where the politicians that we elect, there's such a bureaucratic level to our government that they're really not even beholden to the will of their voters or constituents.
Are you kidding me? No, that's not true. President Trump and the MAGA Republicans took over the Congress. President Trump reshaped the entire Republican Party and made it a MAGA party, which is what it is right now. And both houses and the governors and the state legislatures around the country. We have MAGA Supreme Court justices and federal judges appointed by him as well. And we don't have term limits disenfranchises voters. It takes away our freedom.
Well, I mean, surely you can understand that the pendulum is eventually going to swing the other way.
Okay.
And when it does, when we have a Democrat majority government, and they start imposing more liberal laws on them.
They already do that. I mean, look, the Democrats are already saying, hey, when we're back in power, we're going to pack the Supreme Court and add 3, 4, 5 more justices to it. So we should not do something because what liberals might do in the future, if God help us, they ever get back in the White House.
Well, my point being, we should seriously consider imposing this sort of policy when you understand that if we do, it's not just going to benefit conservatives or just benefit the MAGA people. It goes both ways.
I know.
And as soon as the pendulums, everybody's going to be in trouble.
I trust the American people. President Trump won the popular vote and all the battleground toss-up states, right? This is a conservative country, and I trust the American people to decide who the president is. Not a bunch of people that pass laws telling us we can only have them for 2 terms.
Sure. What do you think about the makeup of our country being dramatically shifted through these years? Like you said, it's a conservative country.
Well, Trump just got reelected a year ago. Trump was just reelected a year ago with the popular vote. Seems like things are going well. The country demographic hasn't changed as much as you think. We're just overloaded with illegals from around the world who have been participating in our system illegally for so long, and they're being tossed out. There's a reset going on right now.
You see no problem with the H-1 visa workers or the 600,000 Chinese students that he's going to let into the country to go to college?
It's not 600,000.
What's the number?
The number is 300.
300 or 300,000?
300,000 that are already they're already enrolled in colleges.
Okay. Well, I watched the interview with Laura Ingraham, but let's just say for the sake of argument, it is 300,000.
It's 300,000.
Well, okay. Let's say it's 300,000. You don't see any issue with that?
No, it's a free country.
Sure,
See,
but
I'm not what are you, some kind of nationalist racist? You don't. Chinese can't go to our schools. I mean, what? I don't. The liberals out there keep saying that we can't let Chinamen in our. That's a racist thing. That's like from the 1800s during the days of the Intercontinental Railroad. You don't want Chinese people going to our schools. That's like racism, bigotry, hate, prejudice.
Let me try to defend my argument here. There's a couple things. I think that these colleges shouldn't be able to rely on the absorbent amounts of money that these Chinese students are willing to pay them, and I think they should be forced to economize and charge.
Did you go to college?
I didn't go to college.
Okay, well, why not?
It was really expensive. I didn't have the. I can't go into detail on here, but let's just say I had to take a job that would give me opportunities for further education. I wasn't able to just go. I didn't
start going to college till I was almost. I don't know, how old was I when I started going to college? 25, 27. I know, Kathy, my wife. Okay. Do you know how old I was when I started? 28, 29. I started college. Something. 28. I started college at 28. It took me years to get through because I paid my own way, and sometimes I took one class or skipped a semester. Right? It took time. The Chinese. Listen, I'm not defending the CCP, but what I'm telling you is this: is that I keep hearing liberals, I keep hearing Democrats say we can't have Chinese in our colleges, and in the same breath, they're calling Trump a bigot who hates immigrants. Which is it? You guys don't want Chinese people in our schools, but then you give Trump a hard time for deporting these rapists and drug dealers and MS-13 and Trinidad de Agua gangbangers and terrorists? I'm confused.
Well, here's the thing. Let's argue in good faith. Like I said, I only
argue in good faith.
I'm definitely not who you're probably I'm not the type of person you're probably assuming that I am right now. But you have the idea of Trumpism. And that is a nationalist ideology.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being pro your country?
No, wait. Please, let me. Nothing is wrong with that. All I'm saying is that his actions as of late don't really coincide with the ideals.
Absolutely. Give me an example.
Well, the Chinese students. So you want to have a limit? Hold on, slow down. So the left want our southern border completely open for every gangbanger that wants to come up through or sex trafficker, but Chinese who, by the way, take SATs and qualify and pay their own way through college through whatever means, we can't have them here. That seems very strange to me. You can't have it both ways. But I want to move on, though. I know the other thing you're thinking about, because I'm short on time, but I got to take a break, but you're talking about the H-1B visas. That was your other thing, right? Yeah.
Okay, I'll explain that to you. By the way, President Trump has given some more detail about that today, involving microchips, semiconductors, and stuff. President Trump has brought, I think he said, I may be off by a couple of trillion, but I think he said today in that Saudi economic event, that in this second term so far, he's brought like 16 or 18 trillion dollars with a T in different forms of revenue into this country. Much of it is through companies from around the world moving to here and doing manufacturing here, develop whatever it is they do. And what President Trump was talking about with the H-1B visas with Laura Ingraham last week was this. They're bringing, all of these jobs have been moved overseas. The microchips, the semiconductors, the solar panels, everything has been moved overseas. We do not have enough people in the workforce that have the skills for these things right now and the willingness to work. So in some instances, they have to use the H-1B visas so they have enough people to man the Toyota plant that has the latest robots from Japan that our people aren't skilled to use or something. That's all.
Okay.
And I don't see how that's bad.
Would you like me to respond?
Of course.
I think the real problem is, and here's the thing. I agree with you. I agree with you about the southern border. I agree with you about a lot of things. But I gotta call it like how I see it, right? And we both are of the idea that we should be bolstering America's workforce, industry, manufacturing. We need to make all these things ourselves. Not only is it in the interest of our economy, but it's a national security interest.
Yeah, but you're talking about in theory as opposed to practical application. You are correct in the long term, but as an example, President Trump's bringing. Hold on, I'm up against a break, so we got to finish up. But President Trump, he's bringing the microchip people and the semiconductor people here. We do not have enough people that have the proper skills right now to do those jobs in every position. So they have to use the H-1B visas to bring the skilled to have enough of the skilled workers at that level to make the microchips and make the semiconductors. That makes sense. How can he tell these people, make them move their companies here, but we don't have enough workers? You can't have it both ways.
I don't really accept the idea that we don't have enough workers. I think really what we're seeing
have the skills.
is I think really what we're seeing is companies don't want to pay American workers because they can get away with paying Indian or Chinese workers a third of what they would have to pay American workers. and there's really no consequence.
We don't
to
have
it.
enough people to fill up the microchip factories because those jobs have been moved overseas. The people with those skills aren't here right now. Not enough of them. We have to train people.
But here's the problem with the argument: is you're talking about one specific job, which you may or may not be right about. Right? Let's just say yes, we don't have enough workers skilled enough to make microchips. Okay, I will forego trying to argue with you about this specific case, but you cannot say that it's not a problem that corporations don't want to pay American workers, and therefore they will hire illegal workers.
Let me use another example away from this. Okay, right now, and this is the last point because then I do have to break. And for the last few years, now I'm not going to call you back. You can call me back on another day. Okay, I'm here every day. I'm going to take other callers and cover some other stories after the break. You can call me back on it. Make sure you follow and subscribe. You're a good caller, and I live stream every day of the week, taking live calls. So we'll talk again. This war in Ukraine, we have been sending weaponry to Ukraine for several years now. The weapons we send are very high tech, very high tech.
Yes,
everything's computerized. It's all in English.
Okay.
They don't have enough Ukrainians that are skilled to use this equipment properly. Because it's all in English. They're losing thousands of people every week in the war. I have no doubt in my mind that we have both civilian and military people in Ukraine. We've had them for years now operating all this military equipment. They have to import people to do it, and we're letting them. It's a secret thing. They're not telling us, but things are so. It's a similar thing. We just can't dump off all this hardware that's in English and tell this country at war, here you go. Of course our people are over there operating it. Right? And so it's a similar thing with these things. Now, 5 or 10 years from now, we may not need all these workers because we'll have time. How old are you? You're in your 20s, right?
I'm 25.
You're 25. When I was your age, okay, I'm 19 years older than you. When I was your age, there were nonstop advertisements for technical colleges and vocational schools. You don't see those anymore because a lot of those jobs moved overseas, and the few that are here have been taken by illegals. We don't, and most of us, like I went to college, but I have a degree that's not a technical degree. Most people that go to college today, they major in English Lit. They major in all kinds of things. We're a thinker. We're a bunch of philosophers. We don't have the skills to go work in an auto plant that's all computerized, mechanized, and robotized. Okay, like that Hyundai plant. We don't have enough people to man that Hyundai plant that know how to use the equipment. Like the Ukrainians can't use our military hardware. That's why you got to allow the H-1B visas.
And I necessarily agree, but again, we're talking about a skilled labor. I'm talking about unskilled labor that's still being occupied by illegal immigrants.
Well, that's why Trump's Mexican deporting them.
Well, he's not deporting the farm workers. He's not deporting the people that are actually,
he's okay. Well, there's a reason for that. The farm workers will get deported eventually, but there's others that are more important first. And to focus in on the farm workers, while the farm workers are working hard all day, they're not the ones out there gangbanging, dealing dope, and raping and murdering all the time. They work sun up to sundown on the farm. And if they rounded up all the farm workers while all these gangbangers and sex traffickers were running around, all that would do would be allow these violent criminals to continue and drive the food prices up. It's a tactical and economic decision he made there.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think this is a question of whether or not you're a good person or a bad person. This is a question of whether or not you're an illegal immigrant. And I don't really care what status these people hold or like what kind of people they are.
Who's more important to deport? A guy that's working in the strawberry fields, or a guy that's raping and murdering people and selling dope during the day and in between shooting people? Which is more important? You want that farm worker or you want that Trinda guy?
Just because one is more important than the other doesn't mean they both shouldn't be deported. Right. And that's the thing. Is
I gotta run. Even though you have not gone to college, this is not a compliment. You'll think it is, but you talk like someone who has, because the way you're talking is in theory as opposed to like practicality in real life.
Okay. Well, these people are occupying jobs that American people should have. I think that's a problem.
Okay.
And I think that was the sell. So
We'll get to them eventually. Well, welcome to the show. Make sure you subscribe. We'll talk again next time. All right?
all right, thank you so much.
All right, take care. Nice guy. Wrong on everything, but that's okay. Are you in pain? Oh, man, Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Go see Dr. Philip Appleton. Let him tell you, it's a no-charge consultation. Let him tell you how he can give you back your life, a pain-free life, where you can say bye-bye to your pain with his robotic laser away pain treatment. I've had that laser treatment 7 times from several different types of pain, sometimes from injuries, sometimes from aging, sometimes from accidents. And every single time, he's rid me of pain, and the pains have not returned. And it works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. I've met so many listeners. One of our listeners from our cruise, he had arthritis in his neck, gone. Pain's gone. I ran into a listener at Friendly Tire, our tire sponsor, on Saturday. His lower back, he had massive pain in his vertebrae. Dr. Appleton treated him with the laser wave pain treatment. He is now living pain-free. Give Dr. Appleton a call. And by the way, it makes a great gift for the holidays, too. If you have a friend or family member who's in pain, take them over there. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome. We've had listeners travel from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Before we go back to the phones, if you're on hold, stand by. And if you'd like to call in, the number is toll free, 888-465-2631. Wow. Wow, 80,000 U.S. visas revoked. Man, Marco Rubio's awesome. You guys love Marco Rubio? I love Marco Rubio. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right. He chimed in right as I hit the button already, so didn't make it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Jack. I just wanted to ask you a few questions.
We got a very we've got a very bad connection, but I'll give it a go.
Is this better?
A little better.
Is this better, Brian?
It's a little better.
All right. So when are you going to start jumping ship? I mean, because this is the end. You know that, right?
The end of what? This call? Perhaps. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Marcus from California, and I was gonna ask you a question in regards to the recent emails being released in regards to Trump. And I just wanted to ask you in this particular email that was stating that Trump was alone for hours in a house with a girl. Like, what do you think that means exactly?
I got to tell you, this may come as a surprise to you. Okay, did I lose you? Oh, I lost him. Okay. I don't know where he went. Alone in a house with a girl. It is, let's see, let me do some math here. What time is it? I have been alone in a house with a girl myself for the last, 26 hours. That, of course, would be my wife. I don't quite get what that means. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. The rest of you on hold, stand by. I want to get back into what's going on in North Carolina. These immigration raids in North Carolina have just blown my mind away because, we know that illegals are all over the country, but I didn't realize there were so many so deep into a place like Charlotte, North Carolina, and throughout the rest of North Carolina. In fact, there was reporting today, look at this, over 30,000 students in one North Carolina school district were not in class Monday because of ICE raids. Think about that, 30,000. And you wonder, are all the illegal kids, did they all skip school that day or not? I mean, how many children are in America's public schools that have no right to be there and are illegal? One of the biggest things that Democrats gripe about, and they have as long as I can remember, is classroom overcrowding. It seems that the classrooms are overcrowded in many instances with illegals. Certainly in Charlotte, 30,000 didn't show up because of ICE raids. Here's Morning Joe today. Listen to this. Okay, so we have the mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, here's my question to you. We have the mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina. What did he say? Call police if what? Okay. The mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina is encouraging people to call the police if they feel unsafe with the federal agents knocking down their door. You don't call the police on the police. ICE agents are the federal police force, right? Is the mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina, by the way, that's interfering with government business, isn't it? This is federal government business. They are there under orders from the President of the United States. He's interfering with government business. By MSNBC, CNN, and the Democrat standard that they laid down after January 6th, interfering with government business is in fact an insurrection. So is the mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina, an insurrectionist? This guy here cracks me up. Those of you watching on YouTube, this liberal jerk that they're going to have on MS Now. This is the first time I played a clip from MS Now. This guy here spends half his morning doing his hair to make it look like it's messed up. So he looks cool, right? He's like that mayor out in Minneapolis with the hair. What you do, when federal agents come to you, you do what they tell you to do. You comply, okay? You don't resist, right? You don't interfere, and you do what they tell you to do. And then you go to court and make your case, right? That's what you do. The fear. Yeah, bunch of illegals. That's right. Yeah, that's right. You cannot harbor federal fugitives. You can't say my community, my jail, my city, my town, my county is a safe haven for federal fugitives. You can't. Hiding federal fugitives is a federal crime. Yeah, and what about the ones that have raped and murdered women and children? Or truck drivers that are illegal with illegal driver's licenses that kill entire families on the roads of Florida? Okay, so they're celebrating this illegal meeting where they're teaching people how to obstruct justice. By the way, just because they're being taught how to obstruct justice doesn't mean that they're doing it legally. You cannot legally obstruct justice. It's all a crime. Yeah. It's a white crowd of people that don't want to lose their slave labor. They're nannies, they're farm workers, they're cleaning ladies, they're lawn guys, whatever. This is just like the Democrats in the 1850s. They're trying to keep their slaves. They don't want their slaves to be deported. They don't want their slaves freed. So they're here meeting. How can they keep their slave labor force? You think these guys here want to mow their own lawns? I don't think so. Oh. That is all illegal. Everything that these people are teaching people to do is a federal crime, and you can be arrested and go to prison for it. Oh, look at this. They're even reenacting. They have two white liberals. One's pretending to be an ICE agent, deporting a woman, and the other ones are rehearsing on how... Do you see this? I'm showing it on YouTube. They're showing them how to react when they see a deportation. Oh, my goodness. And keep their slaves. You know, the Methodist pastors can get married. You think he's married to a woman? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hey, it's Marcus again from California, and I just wanted to respond to that response you gave me to my initial question in regards to the emails. And,
No, it's one call per show, and you can call me on the next show, right? I'll be back tomorrow. You can call me tomorrow. One call per show. I don't have a lot of rules, but that's one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia.
And I have some issues about the terrorist that's coming to our country.
Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes, what's your name?
Hey,
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Jeff. I'm calling from Iowa.
All right, Jeff in Iowa. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to know, who do you think Bubba is?
Bubba is Bill Clinton's nickname, so that Bubba is Bill Clinton. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Afternoon, Brian. It's Dr. Knight out of California.
Hey, California. What's on your mind?
I'm trying to breathe here because this issue has been going on long enough.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump needs to make it a felony to cross the border illegally. And he needs to make that immediately, and he needs to retroactive that if it is all possible. Because what Biden did, making it an administrative type of crime, has emboldened these individuals to say that these people have not committed a crime.
Mm-hmm.
That's first things first.
Yep.
Second, for some reason, the young man that I was listening to, that I really actually did enjoy your interaction with, is right in some regards to the fact that individuals don't want to be paying people a specific, a standard wage, what most people would expect, like a living wage. And I'm not talking necessarily about fast food or what have you. But with that being said, one of the reasons why that's happening is because illegals are driving down that ability to be able to have that wage be realized.
Correct.
This is so incumbent that we get this one issue taken care of and addressed, because it filters into all areas of our country.
Yep.
Legal immigration is absolutely fantastic. Do we need workers that work in agriculture to pick produce and do this, that, and the other? Yes. Are they productive members of society? Yes, but they have to do the standard process that everybody else does. My question to you is this. Now they're picking and choosing what federal laws they want to be enforced. And if the ones that they don't want are being enforced, they end up creating an issue or a problem or organizing and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
So which one's next? What federal law are they going to pick out as being illegal next?
Exactly.
There was a process. This has to be addressed. I know that people within the Trump administration listen to your show, so I'm harping on them to get in there and get something done, because this has to be taken care of. The fact of the matter is that this has been going on. This has been going on too much, and this is absolutely crazy. Having organizations implementing this type of activity is they are impeding law enforcement. They are creating dangerous situations for law enforcement, where these activities are actually causing injuries to people. This is going to get worse.
Yeah.
And somebody is actually going to end up their lives are going to end up. I mean, I'm hoping
what they're
happen,
doing is a lot of them. See, a lot of them, they've been brainwashed, and they think that what they're doing is okay. Some of them are following ICE agents around, like stalking them, following them. That's illegal too. You can't stalk federal agents in your car all day. You can't.
No, because you cannot stalk federal workers.
You can't obstruct
and these
justice.
people have to be prosecuted.
Yeah, you can't obstruct justice either. When the ICE agents are federal police. They're like FBI agents, Secret Service agents, ATF. They're the same thing. You can't interfere with an arrest that's being made by law enforcement, local or federal. That is not a right that you have.
Where I don't understand, where were all these people when Obama was See, I worked in that field, and there were ICE agents within the jails in California. They had their own office. If you were identified as being somebody that was illegal, you would get processed, you'd stay, and then guess what? You would get deported.
Yeah.
ICE agents would actively be in that office 1 to 2 times a week. Those offices are no longer in those police departments.
No, they should be, though.
This isn't.
Some may, but part of the thing is what I was talking about with these people at the Methodist Church. This is a slave labor force for a lot of the white liberals, but at the government level, it's a lot of money. The illegals, they get, in these school, 30,000 students because of the ICE raids didn't show up in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? On Monday. They get paid per student. So how many hundreds of millions or billions of dollars are they making in Charlotte just in the school system from the illegals, right? They get paid per student. They get paid for the lunches. They get paid for all this stuff. And it works that way throughout all of local government. So there's a lot of local government corruption. They're making a lot of money off the illegals as well.
I think the first actual steps should be changing it to a felony, and then for all individuals who end up sending money back, because that's a huge, gigantic problem as well, I think it should be taxed 50%.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good. Listen, I got to run, but I appreciate the call. Okay? All right, take care. Call me again. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. He's a good MAGA guy, and he'll never sell you a roof you do not need, which means that if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. I have talked to multiple listeners who have told me that they thought they needed a new roof. Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing came out, and they just needed a repair. One guy thought he had a leak in his roof. Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing came out. It was a leak from his AC drain. He said, no, there's just a leak on your AC. And that's it. You don't need a new roof. You don't have a leak in your roof. Isn't that something? Finding honesty like that in the roofing business is unheard of. But he's a MAGA guy, so he's good. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, call Tom Laporta. He will help you. He can handle a job of any size, whether it's one home or business or office building or an HOA with over 450 units. He can handle a job of any size. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, so you could call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Brian Craig Show podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Just search for The Brian Craig Show. And if you want to catch the show in video form and live, go to YouTube or YouTube Music and search The Brian Craig Show there. You can catch me live and get the video form of the podcast. All right, so these raids that are going on in North Carolina, we've got a lot. There's a lot of liberals in North Carolina. I can't believe how many liberals are in North Carolina. Like the SNAP liberals that were going to talk, they were going to rob stores and are making videos. They were going to shoplift at Walmart if they didn't get their SNAP. These white liberals trying to keep their slave labor of the illegals in the country, they're making videos too. Okay, you know, alerting criminals of law enforcement activity is also a crime. And since these are federal agents, these are federal crimes. You know, I remember when I was younger, I don't see this so much in Florida anymore because they cracked down on it. But have you ever been driving down a highway and you know, like an interstate highway, turnpike or something like that, and you see people coming towards you from the other direction and they blink your lights at you during the day? You know what? You ever have that happen? Remember, you don't see that too much anymore in Florida because you know what that means? You're driving, people come in the other direction, blink the lights. Why are they doing that? They're letting you know that there's cops up ahead with a radar gun and a speed trap. And I used to see that all the time when I was younger, and they started cracking down on it. I'm talking about Florida police. That's a crime. And they actually stopped people and pressed charges against them. I cannot remember if it was a ticket or if they were arrested, but it's a crime. The blinking of the lights for the oncoming cops, they would stop people for doing it. And whatever they were allowed to do, they did. Like I said, it's been a long time since they had that crackdown, and I don't see it anymore. Well, that's minor compared to what these idiots are doing. Look at this. This is a North Carolina laundromat. Okay, now first of all, this is illegal on a couple of levels, right? One, it's a fire hazard. So to have your door locked of your business while you have customers in your business is a violation of the local fire ordinances everywhere in the United States. So that's a crime in itself. But you can't harbor federal fugitives. And this, I'm going to play the whole story, but in this instance, you've got a guy who's on the run from federal enforcement, law enforcement, federal agents. You don't know if he's just a guy that's overstayed his student visa or if he's a Trinidad de Agua terrorist. You can't give safe haven and hide federal fugitives in your business. Oh my goodness. Immigrants, he means illegal aliens. Well, I'm sorry that your business is based on business from federal fugitives. I mean, you might as well have a laundromat and your client base are bank robbers, right? Wow. His people are criminals. Wow. Those are all federal felonies. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean, what's up?
Well, this is just an incredible winning across the board for Trump. I mean, it's just every day, and he's cleaning up every state. He's going to be moving, every direction. He sees what's happening. He knows the board very well.
Yeah.
And, all the people that obstructed him, they're going to learn. I mean, these mayors that are doing that in Charlotte, well, it's the same kind of mayor that you see in Chicago that's going to say, we're going to try and use our federal. You go against the federal, Trump's word. That's it. No cop is going to be able to do anything on the local level. It's not going to happen. And it's going to be, they're just delaying the inevitable to what's going to take place.
Yeah.
I was watching a live stream last night, and it was in Dearborn, Michigan. And Nick Shirley was there, too. I'm sure he had his own stream going on, of course. And there was a march going on against the Islamification. And then it was met by droves of counter-protesters, a bunch of jerks, just typical jerks waving their flags and doing their thing over there, of course. That might look like that. And so they were getting attacked, and they stopped. They were walking, and then they were getting locked, and they were throwing things over and everyone. And when they finally stopped, they all kind of were just standing around, like, going at each other, like, arguing. And then all of a sudden, they were getting attacked. Our side, was getting attacked, spit on, maced, and everything else you can think of. Police were sitting around and did nothing about it. But they arrested a few MAGA people, though, that did nothing wrong. And I was watching this in real time as it was happening. I was like, okay, well, now we know where this stands. And then later on, they went to a city council meeting and spoke their mind. But the mayor was there, Dearborn, watching the whole thing. This was after the outside event. But and then the guy that was live streaming, this guy, I don't know who he was, but he said to the cops, he said, you better do something about this because Trump is going to see this. Yeah. You don't think he will?
Yeah.
Just wait.
Trump sees everything. He said. Trump sees everything.
He'll see it. Yeah. He said, you're not going to do anything about this? All right, well, the federal agent's going to come down, and they're going to do something about this. And he will see this.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy was kind of he didn't know what to say. And he just kind of ignored him, but he had that look on his face. He's like, yeah, you're not going to say anything to him. And it's absolutely unbelievable. Well, how much obstruction they're trying to pull here.
They don't even realize that interfering with federal agents is obstruction of justice and is a federal crime you can go to prison for. They don't even know it. They think that they're civil rights leaders here.
Well, yeah.
When Martin Luther King was leading his great nonviolent protest movement, the Freedom Riders and all of that, they expected to get arrested. They didn't obstruct. They did what they did, and they knew they were breaking. The laws were racist and unjust, but they were still the laws. They broke the laws, and they got arrested. They didn't evade. Yeah. They didn't have people obstruct. They didn't. That training session in that Methodist church was absurd, where they had the guy pretending to be an ICE agent deporting this old white lady. I mean, it was, and they're sitting around with the whistles. Thing I've ever seen. Did you see that video I played?
Oh yeah. Yeah, stupidest thing I've ever seen. Wow.
I mean, it's nuts.
That's like well, the next De Niro's we got there looking at now, the washed up people like him, they're all just sitting there doing, oh man, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I can't even believe they would do something that absurd.
I know it is. Hey, listen, I got to run, but I appreciate the call. Good call.
Take care, Brian.
Good call, good points. If you'd like to support my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of the episode on whatever platform you're listening on. Or you can go to patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. There's a lot of perks if you become a Patreon supporter, okay? I do live streams that are exclusive to Patreon supporters. I did a very long live stream last night for Patreon supporters only. And it's just like here on YouTube, except it's a troll-free zone. And I let my hair down a little bit and talk about some things that you probably wouldn't hear me talk about here. And we had some really good conversations last night on the Patreon supporter-only live stream. That live stream is on the Patreon platform. So you have to be a paid Patreon supporter, and then you get access to all that stuff. You get the live streams that are for Patreon supporters only. You get access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes and a lot of exclusive content that my wife and I both post to Patreon that we post nowhere else. Plus, if you're a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen here on YouTube and you get a live on-air thank you shout-out. The names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela. Some of these names are regulars you see in my live chats. Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, and Doris. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. And again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description, or go to patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Okay, so listen to this girl. She's trying to obstruct ICE in a different way. By the way, doing this to federal agents is what she's doing here is also a federal crime, okay? These are all federal crimes that these lefties are committing. What has happened to America's youth? Could we go back to the moon if we really wanted to? Do we have the ability to do that? It's getting crazy. Listen to this guy. Here's a man who's in desperate need of a new hat. I've got a bunch of MAGA hats. I could give him one, but I don't think he'd want to wear a MAGA hat. Unbelievable. Well, first off, how does he know this? Maybe he'll tell us. Federal government's got a lot of those SUVs. Remember they bailed out GM? They got an excess of SUVs, but he just wants to blame. What is he, a salesman that got fired by this dealer for not making a sales quota? How does he know that the SUVs that ICE has come from this particular dealer? Maybe let's see what he says. Well, but they bought in volume. They bought 10, so they worked out a good deal. First off, I don't buy this, okay? When the federal government comes in, they don't care about the deals. They just typically write the check. This is your people. Oh my goodness. You know, the left. Let me pull up another one. These liberals. It really truly is amazing to me what comes out of their mouth with this. They know as well as we do all the mayhem that's been committed. Here's another group. Look at this. Okay, make sure I had the right clip. They're all white liberals too. You notice? These are all white liberals. I haven't seen any liberals that are black. All white liberals. Okay, so here you got another white liberal woman who wants to make sure that their slaves are safe to continue to be slaves for them. I'm not sure what they are doing. Are they picking their kids up from the school bus, or are they protecting illegal parents who are picking their illegal children up from the school bus? I'm not sure what they're doing here. Wow, she said, nice. There's children there. She's in front of young elementary school children. She said, "F Trump." Can she say it? Well, she just said it. I mean, okay, here's some more white liberals. They're all white. I didn't realize this. These are all white liberals, one after the other. And that she said she's talking about ICE agents. So she got a text that there's some ICE agents in the parking lot. Okay, now these girls are stalking, right? They're stalking ICE agents or a vehicle that they believe to be ICE agents. They may not be. And then they're just stalking civilians, which is also a crime. I mean, whatever they're doing, whether they're federal agents or they think they're federal agents, these girls are stalking. What do you think these young white girls think about people that stalk? What if somebody was following them around because they thought they were ICE because they're in an SUV? Would that be okay? Yeah, they're probably scared. I bet you these were not ICE agents, that they were just regular people. They got scared. They're getting followed. If you're being followed, you know what you do? If you can, drive to a police station. Did she say they're not police? Let me go back. Did she say they have their sirens and lights on and they're not police officers? Let me go back. Yeah, she said they're not police officers. She is not aware that federal agents are federal police officers, federal law enforcement. Who does she think they are? They have badges. They have guns. They have handcuffs. They have sirens. She said they're not police officers. Oh, my goodness. I'd like to ask them their thoughts about Lincoln Riley. Kidnapped. No, you're a white American girl, okay? You're not an illegal, okay? You're not going to be mistaken for an illegal, and you're not going to be deported.
He is all of us. We are all him, and this can happen to any of us, regardless
No.
of race, socioeconomic status, citizenship. This is happening to everybody in our community.
No, it's happening to illegals. Yeah, maybe they could deport her. That's not a bad idea. I mean, this is crazy. She doesn't think ICE or police. Well, I got a couple more clips here. Let me see if I'm going to... Oh, yeah, this is a school teacher. I remember 30,000 students didn't show up to school because of the ICE raids on Monday in Charlotte, North Carolina alone. This is a teacher talking about his homeroom class. Wow. What's with that man bun? I thought that went out of style. Do guys still get those man buns? But that's it. I mean, that 30,000 students didn't show up. Now, before I go, I played this on the stream this morning. I want to play this again because there's a big lie going on about our favorite president, Donald Trump. And that he called this reporter, he called her Piggy. Her name is Peggy. That is her nickname. And he called her Peggy. And a lot of people said, oh, I thought he said Piggy, but now that you say that he said Peggy, I can tell. What's happened here with the media, they all know that he called her Peggy, but the audio's not that great because it's on Air Force One and you've got the jet engine in the background. So what they did is it's a psychological thing is what they did because they told you he said Piggy. That's what a lot of you heard. But now that I've told you the truth that he said Peggy, you'll hear it. He says, quiet, Peggy. Quiet, Peggy. You hear it? Quiet, Peggy. He's pissed at her, but he said, quiet, Peggy. You hear that? Quiet, Peggy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Wow. I'm on the air, huh?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Joe. I'm calling from Georgia.
Okay. All right. Nice talking to you. So when you hear this, can you tell the difference? Quiet, Peggy. You hear it? Quiet, Peggy. Quiet, Peggy. It's clear as bell. I mean, clear as day. Quiet, Peggy. But they're going to continue to slander him because that is what it is they do. If you're new to my program, make sure that you follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. The Brian Craig Show podcast is available wherever you get podcasts. To catch the video podcast and live, go to YouTube or YouTube Music and search for The Brian Craig Show and follow and subscribe on YouTube, and you can catch me there, okay? Brian Craig Show on all podcast platforms, but you can get the live show in video form on YouTube. Brian Craig Show on YouTube. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James, I'm from Texas. I just wanted to say, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'll play it one more time. Hear it? Quiet, Peggy. You guys hear it? See? Quiet, Peggy. And, you know, if he would have said, this is a very closed-in area, by the way, right? With all these reporters huddled around the president. If he would have called her Piggy, there would have been a reaction from the rest of the reporters there. There would have been a gasp. I can't believe he called her that. There's none of that. There's no reaction. In fact, in the video, you can see a guy there. He hears the whole thing. He didn't even flinch because he called her by her name. That's it. I'm sorry, guys. They're trying to get Access Hollywood Tape Part 2 with this. Not going to happen. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. I will talk to you next time. Take care.